Have you paused lately to think about how wonderful life is? I mean, life is just awesome. Hello, I'm Clarence. I'm the preacher. And I'm here to tell you that life is the best thing before sliced bread and after sliced bread. In fact, life is so wonderful that there have been people throughout history seek things like the fountain of youth, which Ponce de Leon looked for, and other people, even to this very day, are looking for ways to extend the lifespan years and years and years beyond the average that we have now. Now, I don't think that's necessarily wrong, but I think you ought to be looking at your eternal span also, because eventually, one way or the other, we're all going to die. But while we're here, let's enjoy it. Let's enjoy this gift of life that God has given us, and it is a gift, and there are so many things to enjoy and drink in this life, and yet it seems like so many people are miserable and they're just missing out on it. So what's going on? Well, I personally think the thing that's missing in so many people's lives is they are not reading the manual for how to have a good life. Life is a do-it-yourself project, and the Bible is the manual for how to put this project together. And if somebody's not reading it or following it, they end up with something that can be kind of distorted. Sometimes it's humorous, sometimes it's really, really sad. But what they do is they're rejecting the source of information that will really help them move on. I think what's going on, and I'm just guessing, I don't have scientific research here, but I think that a lot of folks are looking for a shortcut. They've heard enough about that Bible to know that they don't want that. They want a happy, great, wonderful life, but they want to go a different direction. Problem is, people have been looking for a different direction for over 6,000 years, and no one has found anything greater than the Bible. Now, sure, there's some other systems you can follow, but if you want to be at the top, at the pinnacle, and have the best life ever and enjoy the deepest living possible, that's the Bible. That's the way it works. That's why the Bible's still around after 2,000 years, 3,500 years, depending on where you want to count from. Some people would say 6,000 years. Pick a number. Well, the Bible hasn't lasted and endured opposition all of this time for making people miserable. It has lasted, endured all the opposition it has, because there are enough of us who find the wonder in the Bible and hang on to it and try to keep passing that wonder on to another generation. That's awesome stuff. So this whole biblical system, it is a system of love. Why wouldn't anybody want that? Seems obvious to me. 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 7 talks about the wonders of love. In fact, love is so essential that Paul would say, if you don't have it, you're nothing. And so we all want love. We have songs. The poet says, love's what makes the world go round. I agree. Love is that most center thing of life. And that's not wrong, incidentally. Matthew 22, 37 through 39 would tell us to love the Lord our God with all our heart. And doesn't it feel good when you really, really love someone like God? Or maybe you'd like verse 39 in that same passage where he said to love your neighbor as yourself. And again, doesn't it feel good when you love your neighbor and you love your friends and you love your family and your children and your extended family? When you have that love flowing out of your heart, it just feels wonderful. And that's what the Bible's about. Learning how to love your neighbor as yourself. In fact, this is so central to our humanity that John would write in 1 John 4, 8 that God is love. So looking to have love at the very center of your life, in that deepest place of your heart, is exactly what you ought to be, because if you have the right love there, you have God. Because God is love. So why do people reject this? I got a couple ideas. Let me share them with you. Number one, I think people reject this because love, biblically speaking, is something that flows out of you. Love, biblically speaking, is giving and giving and giving. I mean, it's so obvious in the very popular verse, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave. You see the giving there? Christ loved us so much that he gave himself for us. He carried his cross to Calvary. He gave his life when he laid it down for us. That's what love does. And let's just be honest, there are a whole lot of people that want love as long as it's coming in. As long as people are giving them things and giving them attention and giving them whatever it is they're looking for, they want all of that love. But the moment love has to flow out, they're way too selfish. They're way too small. They're so immature. They don't want to give love. I only give love if they can get something back. It's still, I'll scratch your back if you'll scratch my back. And to give love as just a pure sacrifice, not even on their list. Why would a person like that want the Bible, right? They wouldn't want anything to do with it. But the sad thing is they're going to miss out on the really true depth of this kind of love, and they're never going to know how far love could go. All they're ever going to know is that shallow little selfish me experience, and that's really a shame. Number two, I think we all know stories of professed Christians who are outright hateful. Now, I'm not talking about tough love. There is a place for tough love. There are times when parents need to practice some tough love, and the kids aren't going to think that's love, but biblically it can be. There are times when we need to admonish one another, our friends and loved ones, because that's what love does. We're not going to let someone blindly wander off down the road to destruction. So there is a place for tough love, but I'm not talking about tough love. I'm talking about outright hate. And we've seen it. Some cases so big it's made the media. Other cases are just local stories in your community of churches who are holding up their Bible talking about how they love Jesus, and they are the most hateful, ugly, disrespectful people you've ever met. That's not love. But I get why some people reject the love in the Bible when those are the examples they've seen and they think that's biblical love. No, that's not biblical love. And part of the trick is getting past all the distractions and all the false things that claim to be Christianity and find that true Christianity that's in the Bible. Now, you can do it. But what that means is you got to pick up the Bible and read it with your own eyes. You got to have a one-on-one contact with the living Word of God. So, put your comments below, share your ideas, share any questions you might have, whether related to this subject or not. Share this video because I think together we can make a difference. I don't think we're going to change the world with these little videos, but what if we just change 1 or 2 lives? That would be pretty awesome. That's a start. We'll start small, and if it gets bigger, that'd be great. And as always, I hope you have a great day.